The state's largest city is getting a lot of attention in the national media. Business publications and websites are hailing Oklahoma City as a destination for entrepreneurs and a great place to do business. Economic analysts say it's no surprise the city has become such fertile ground for economic opportunity.
The accolades keep coming in for Oklahoma City. Forbes recently ranked the city the 7th best place for business, thanks to a thriving energy industry and one of the best job and income growth rates over the past 5 years. Then there's the Cool List website, featuring a documentary by filmmaker Seamus Payne that calls Oklahoma City a hidden gem of American cool.
There was a time not long ago when cities like Austin, Texas, and Portland, Oregon didn't quite exist as we see them today. Before these towns became great American cities, there were communities on the rise just waiting for their stories to be told. There are more like them out there. One in particular stands out in my mind, the Great Plains capital of Oklahoma City.
Another website, NerdWallet, ranked Oklahoma City as the best place to launch a small business last year, crediting a recent upswing in small business lending for helping to spur economic activity. Carlos Amaro with the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center believes Oklahoma's business-friendly environment also has something to do with it.
Not as heavily regulated as many other states are, and this is something that I hear from real business people doing business in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City University economist Russell Evans isn't surprised the city's doing so well. Unlike Tulsa, which Evans says is more tied to the national economy, Oklahoma City was less affected by the economic downturn which began in 2008.
It's the industry energy concentration, it's the federal jobs concentration with Tinker and the FAA Center. It's a whole host of activities here in Oklahoma City that seems to be less influenced by national conditions than Tulsa.
Oklahoma Employment Security Commission economist Lynn Gray says the influence of the oil and gas industry can't be overlooked.
Over the last decade, it's doubled its employment, up 100%. So we've had significant growth there, and those, as I've already said, those are high-wage jobs.
Evans points out many of those jobs are concentrated in central Oklahoma.
You're talking about Oklahoma City accounting for almost half of the job gains in the state over the last 3 years. Tulsa accounts for about another fourth, about 25%, with the remaining 25% spread out across the rest of the state.
While the energy industry gets much of the credit for the economic boom, the state director of the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center points to Oklahoma City's MAPS program as another factor. Dr. William Carter says while other cities tout features like mountains or beaches when recruiting business, Oklahoma City civic leaders created their own amenities, paid for by sales tax increases approved by city voters.
They took what water they had and they moved it down through Bricktown, and in a sense they created that environment that people like to lunch at or spend their evenings at, or in some cases shop or linger at before ball games.
Evans agrees MAPS has done what officials hoped it would do.
And we've seen the result as businesses come here as recreational services. U.S. Canoe and Kayak locates here in Oklahoma City of all places. It just flows from this process of trying to create an amenity-rich city as opposed to trying to recruit and get a particular industry.
While the economic future appears to be bright, optimism is tempered somewhat by the growth in lower-wage jobs. Gray notes that while 33,000 jobs have been added statewide in the past year, employment in lower-wage jobs such as the food and leisure industries has outpaced other sectors of the state's economy.
But that's not a new story. We've been seeing that over the last decade, that jobs in that industry, that sector, are growing faster. So that's just a portion of our economy that's reacting to changing consumer demands.
Evans is not surprised by the growth in lower wage jobs.
I think it's a natural ebb and flow. In fact, I think it's a very reasonable 2 or 3 year run of high-end job creation followed up by the support services that now come in and gather around those households that are spending those paychecks.
An economic report issued in June at the U.S. Conference of Mayors appears to bear that out. The report suggests Oklahoma City's economy will grow by 2% this year and 2.9% in 2015. That same report projects economic growth of 363 cities nationally to average 2.3% this year and 3.2% in 2015.